Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, we're getting our money's worth after you missed a couple of weeks.
I know.
It is Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle back with me today. How's it going, Hinks?
Great. It's Monday.
It is very much a Monday. I really get used to the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule.
Yeah.
And when it's not that, it throws me off.
I understand.
I was off all day. I was like, what is it, Sunday or what's going on? Why do the Flyers play? But they do play. They play the Colorado Avalanche tonight. And we have a few lineup changes to talk to you about. First, we'll start with Sam Ersson going on IR. The Flyers tweeted around what time today? It was 10 a.m. this morning. So injury update, Sam Ersson is on IR. He's been placed there, and Emil Andre is out for at least tonight with a quote-unquote mid-body injury. So nipples to knees.
Nipples to knees.
Our favorite
injury.
It's not his jaw, and it's not his ankle.
Not his head.
But anything else, it could
Fair
be.
game.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
And additionally, defenseman Helge Grans has been recalled on an emergency basis from the Phantoms. He will make his NHL debut tonight. We
Thrilling.
came over. Listen, it's a nice night for him. I just saw Charlie tweet he got his solo lap.
Nice.
So he's out there for the first time. He came over in the Provorov trade from LA. Honestly, I think people were more intrigued by him than Sean Walker, not the governor of Wisconsin. The defenseman Sean Walker comes over, and it was like, well, I don't know who this guy is, but it's probably just a salary dump. But here's a younger guy,
Yeah, what can he be?
We'll get
Maybe
a look.
a
And
vote.
he's 22 years old. He'll be 23, not till May, so he's still pretty young. 6'3", 205, and I hesitated on his name because I'm going to see if I can get this to play.
Yes, please work.
I tried to impersonate this earlier to Hinkle, and
I died.
it's the Elite Prospects pronunciation of Helge's name. Let's make sure the volume is up here.
Helge Grans.
I wanted Bill to say it exactly like that.
Grans.
Helge.
I tried to do it, and honestly, it's probably offensive to some of the way I said it. I'm sure it would not be appreciated by some group or another. So we're going to skip that. But he makes his debut tonight. They already hate me because I think Finland and Sweden are the same place.
I mean, they're all right up there.
They're right next to each other. It's come on,
Yeah.
They hate each other apparently. At least when it comes to hockey, at least.
Well,
they
yeah.
are not the same place.
No.
But yeah, so he makes his debut tonight, and in net, we talked about this last game with Fedotov hot. They were going to ride Ivan Fedotov for at least a bit, but tonight it is Aleksei Kolosov making his first start in just about 2 weeks. Has not played since that Carolina game in which he gave up like 5 goals. I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more of Aleksei Kolosov, at least while he's here.
Yeah.
We have the report from Kevin Kurz that the Flyers believe, you think they would have asked him. So if they believe it, it must be true.
Well,
if he is reassigned at some point to the Phantoms, he's going to go, I'm headed back to the KHL. So he's here. He's going to get the start tonight. And it's not exactly as if he's been setting the world on fire. 2 starts, but he played a majority of the Boston game as well. He's 0-3-0 with a .392 goals against and an .863 save percentage. Not great.
No,
Not exactly awesome. He made his debut on October 27th against Montreal. He allowed 4 goals on 24 shots. I think he played overall pretty well that night. The Cole Caulfield goal is like, yeah, don't give that one up. Also, Cole Caulfield might win the Richard this year.
He
scores
goals.
So stuff happens sometimes.
Yeah.
When he came in the Boston game, allowed 2 goals on 22 shots. Ersson started, but left about 7.5 minutes in with that when a skate blade broke.
Yeah.
And I guess pulled his groin, and that's kind of what seems to have landed him on IR again. And the last time he played, November 5th at Carolina, 5 goals on 34 shots. It was a shooting gallery out there. The Flyers had 6 shots in the final 40 minutes. I don't think there was much Aleksei Kolosov could have done.
No.
But .863 save percentage in 3 games. It doesn't seem as if he's ready. I think in a couple of years, he's going to be at the very least, like an average NHL goalie.
Yeah.
He will be, I think, in the NHL. But right now, it's just, you got to keep him as clean as possible. And the Flyers have been doing that. They haven't been giving up a ton of shots. They look a lot more like the team that we saw for the 2/3 of last season.
Yeah.
But blue line's starting to really get depleted at this point.
So the defense is going to be interesting. John Tortorella pretty much said, I'm going to play Travis Sanheim 47 minutes tonight.
Yeah,
Paraphrase. So that's going to be interesting. I am starting to worry a little bit that, like, at some point they're going to break Travis Sanheim. And then what?
And we saw it last year. They wanted to back off his minutes around, it was late December. It was like the Disney on Ice trip when they were like, we need to back him off because he's, leading the league in minutes, and he's up there again this year.
Right.
Then he gets banged up, and it was kind of the Cam York show from then on out. I was like, is Cam York suddenly this team's best defenseman?
Yes.
He really kind of took over. And then Cam York got banged up, and then the team didn't win for like 2 months, basically. And all the defensemen were hurt. They traded Sean Walker, and suddenly they missed the playoffs after being in a playoff spot from November on.
Yeah.
That's probably, how it's going to go. And I just see Charlie tweeted out the lines and pairs today for warm-ups today. So it is Coots with Tippett and Konechny stays together. Okay. Lawton with Brink and Farabee stays together. Yeah, same lineup. Cates with Michkov and Tony Dick, and Paling with Hathaway and Forster. So
no reason to
despite
change.
Forster's recent return to at least some quality play, he remains on the 4th line for now. We will see how long that lasts. But on defense, this is really
that third pair.
The second pair is Sanheim with Risto. Sealer with Eric Johnson playing in his 1,001st.
Maybe he's going to have a little juice for his 1,001st game.
His ceremony for 1,000 games is tonight. He spent 717 of those games, plus a Stanley Cup run with Colorado. So it's cool he gets that recognition tonight against them. And then the third pair, which, like, deployed as a pair, I would be surprised on it. Like, I think it's kind of just going to be like, Sanheim, you're also going to play with each of these 2 guys sometimes. I'm sure they'll get some time out together, but, like, they're going to play 8 minutes.
I mean, one of Zamula or Grons is going to be on the ice for every goal scored against. Like, let's just put that in our minds now. To get back to the goalie, though, like we talked about last game, that like they might ride Fedotov because he started to look good. And I kind of wish that they had, just because I would like to see him like build up some momentum. But like I kind of get the thought process because the Avs, while they are the Avalanche, have not been playing like the Avalanche this season. So maybe the thought process is like we'll save Fedotov for the Canes, who are definitely good. And they're thinking that this might be like an easier game for Kolosov to get back in. I don't know.
I think it's just like
I'm actually
gotta play him at some point.
Yeah, I want to see what he has because like
definitely,
he could pull it together too. Like Fedotov seems to have pulled it together. Maybe he's pulling it together too. Who can say?
And it was those first we saw it with Sam Ersson just a year ago.
Yeah.
Those first 3-4 games were a disaster.
They were not good.
And then he was excellent from November until he really had to play every single night.
Yeah.
November to February, he was good last year. Maybe that's kind of what we're seeing. Fedotov got it together. He looks normal-ish. As normal as he's going to look,
Probably.
I would say. He's been effective. He's won
Less
3
flopping.
straight games. Maybe they're thinking Kolosov can get it going a little bit. Kolosov has a longer way to go developmentally.
Yeah.
But I haven't hated what I've seen out of him.
No.
It's just like, yeah, he's going to let in some goals. It's going to happen. These players are better. Like,
Yeah.
no matter what, especially against a team like Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are not the team that they've been the last few years. The depth isn't quite there. They've been getting real shoddy goaltending for a lot of the season, although it looks like it might be turning around too. But like Georgiev, now he's on IR for them, but worse numbers than Fedotov
It's
for
so
a lot
impressive.
of this, which is really, really difficult to do. It's almost harder than being good.
It is.
But they still have Nathan McKinnon, right?
Yeah.
He's a guy.
He's might do something.
They still have Mikko Rantanen.
Yep.
He exists.
He's good.
And they still have Cale Makar, who
pretty good.
yeah.
He's pretty good.
might win the freaking Rockets.
Well, then and then also, like, if that Kurz report is true, then this is yet another opportunity, Aleksei Kolosov.
Show us why you should stay.
Show us why you should stay. Like, that's all you have to do. Can't be that hard, right?
And
Just stop all the pucks.
my hope is that the Airson thing, putting him on IR, is more a way to buy some time
Yeah.
for this situation to sort itself out than like, oh no, he's real hurt. Like, I'm really hoping it's
I mean, probably. I feel like that's what they use IR
because like he
for.
played,
Yeah,
and he was okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Like he seemed fine
I hesitate to say I don't think he's that hurt because this
because
was.
it's the Flyers.
Yeah, and remember last year when Rasmus Ristolainen was like day to day, week to week, and then we didn't see him for
He
like
was
a year.
day to day for 4 months.
Yeah. So like I don't know.
Yeah,
for
man,
sure.
there are days and months too.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
30 of them, in
we
fact.
didn't say how many days he would be today,
Yeah.
but he was 500
Day
days.
to day.
So I don't know for sure, but I tend to agree that this is almost certainly just like them moving pieces around the board so that they can call up guys and figure out what's going on and like, yeah, whatever. But
All right. Bryn, let's do, I think we have a couple of super chats at least.
Super chats.
Let's do those now because then I want to throw it over to
Gary.
the interview with DNVR. Let's hit Gary B. William and Hinks, let's effing go Flyers. I have a bad feeling. Traditionally don't fare well when honoring someone.
Well, where's Neil been with the predictions?
Yeah, we really need Neil Stradamus to show back
Yeah,
up
come
on
on,
these
Neil.
pre-games. He became too famous.
I know. How am I supposed to know what to think without Neil?
I
telling
know.
me what's
I
gonna
really need his help. And another one from Gary B here. Tony Dick, hope he stays a while. I'm going Saturday. I want to chant, let's go, Tony Dick.
Gary, I want this for you very badly.
I think Tony Dick stays in the lineup for a number of reasons. One, he's scoring.
Yeah.
And John Tortorella, when asked what he needs to do, said score.
He's doing that.
Two, while it's different positions, it's basically the same role as Morgan Frost. And you know what John Tortorella wants to do?
Keep Morgan Frost out
Not
of the lineup.
play Morgan Frost.
Never
you know?
wants to do it again.
I think there's a good chance, as long as there's a couple of guys out, like at a certain point, you're going to have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
But they have 3 defensemen hurt. They're carrying 3 goalies. Now it's 2 with Airson on IR. There's just so much up in the air.
Yes.
That I think they're going to try to keep this group and keep guys up as long as possible.
Which I think is a good idea.
Why not? Why not?
We're trying to find out stuff.
Chances are, like Charlie said, Anthony Richard will not be a point-a-game player for the first time in his life, getting NHL consistent minutes.
Not with that attitude, Charlie.
Like, it will eventually stop. Let's ride it until it stops, though.
Yeah, why not?
Let's keep seeing if he can score a bunch and continue scoring a bunch. And then after like 2-3 games without a point, all right, maybe it's time to work Morgan Frost back into the lineup. But until then, he's playing 10 minutes and
Doing
they're
stuff.
scoring 2 points a game. Like,
Yeah,
he's got
like,
multiple
it's
points in
impressive.
his last
Right,
couple
yeah.
games. You know, why not see if he can keep it up?
No, I like it.
And it's not just because I am currently trying to find a custom Tony Dick jersey to get made.
Oh my God, yes.
they
Gary, I'll
have-
be there Saturday too. I'm going to find you.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what
They
you look
have like blanks, the old like bright
Yeah,
orange, like blanks on Fanatics for like $45. I might take it over.
like it.
Take it over to Tuvix. Just let them customize it. Number 90, Tony Dick.
Please do.
I'm really thinking about it.
I'll like give you $20 towards this effort because I'm really into it.
They pay me pretty well here.
You darn.
All right. We did something special for tonight's game. As most of you know, PHLY is under the All-City umbrella, and the very first town that an All-City subsidiary, I guess, opened up in was in Denver. And I talked, because I try to preview the other team a little bit in these pregame warmups. But if I can have an insider, someone who does what I do, but for them, why not just have them tell you about the Colorado Avalanche? So now I'm going to throw it to an interview I did with DNVR's Nate Rudolph the other day to preview this Flyers-Avs matchup. Let's go to that now. Today, we have a very special preview for the Flyers-Avs game. It's a little crossover action. That's right. We got Nate Rudolph out with DNVR to tell us all about the Avs and the wild up and down season that they've had early on. What's going on, Nate?
Do you guys have any healthy bodies we can borrow? I mean, it's been a lot of injuries for us over here.
I'm on Hockey Reference, just like looking at the list of players, and it's like 30 deep already. 28 guys in the lineup, and it's not Thanksgiving yet. Pretty wild what's been happening there, and it's really kind of led to the weird season that the Avs have had. Started with the 4 straight regulation losses, come back, win 5 in a row, then lose 4 of 5. Now they're on a 3-game winning streak. Caps tonight, Flyers on Monday. What is the story of Colorado's season? Is it just injuries and goaltending? What's going on out there?
I mean, on the negative side, it's injuries and goaltending. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The goaltending situation is not really solved, if I'm honest. We've seen a little bit of an upturn in that position for the Avs as of late, but really, they are just getting by at that position. I don't think that position is solved at all. The injuries are what they are. It's a little bit out of the Avs' control. On the positive side, though, you have Nathan MacKinnon leading the NHL in points. You have Cale Makar blowing away all other defensemen in points. And you have Mikko Rantanen, who it might change today, but has the tie for the league lead in goals. So their 3 best players are dragging this team to victory often enough that they're getting away with it. But getting some healthy bodies back is going to go a long way for them.
And it seems like you're going to be getting some healthy bodies, some reinforcements. Maybe tonight. Is Val Nichushkin making his return tonight?
He is. He will be back in the lineup for the Avs after serving his full 6-month suspension for stage 3 of the player protocol. Yeah, that is what it is. It's a weird situation, to say the least. If he can be the type of player we know he can be, he's a huge, huge boon to the Avs, but it's hard to trust him, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's that seemed to be the vibe, like in last year's playoffs, like everyone just kind of throwing up their hands, and now you're in this situation of like, we'll take anyone. Like, does Ryan Johansson want to come back? Like, it seems like you're kind of in the I'm looking at your list of players, and I'm like, I've never heard of a lot of these guys. But like you said, when you have a bunch of superstars, you can maybe get by for some time. But like, what's the vibe with Nichushkin's return? It's been a weird saga for the last really 2 years, and now here we are. He's coming back.
Yeah, I think the vibe is a little bit weird. At the time when it happened, there were a lot of people in that locker room who were very done with this. But ultimately, I think most of them are okay with it. They're comfortable with where things are at. And what this really boils down to for me, Nathan MacKinnon will do whatever it takes to win. He does not care. Top to bottom, if it means, hey, we need to have someone doing security on Val Nichushkin 24/7, that player's too good for him not to be playing for us. So the Avs need a guy like that to really push themselves towards cup contention. And I know in my line of business, I wouldn't get a 4th chance, but I hope Val takes it and runs with it.
Yeah, it would be cool if he could turn it around and come back, because he was awesome for you guys the year you won the cup. He had the great playoffs.
Yep.
He scores goals on a pretty regular basis. He's a good player. It's just like, bro, get your stuff together. Maybe he has, and that would be good for you guys. Maybe not the rest of the league. Someone who is a pretty dope guy, the Flyers traded for after they traded Sean Walker to the Avs last year. They acquired Eric Johnson, and now he's sitting at 999 games played. It seemed for a minute like it was going to line up perfectly. Flyers, Avs.
You guys can't just sit him for one game.
Yeah, and now they're out of defensemen, so it might be 1,001 when he suits up against the Avs. But either way, he played 717 of those 1,000 games with Colorado. He got the first cup handoff from Landeskog in 2022. Yep. He spent 13 years there. How's Johnson remembered in Denver after spending all that time wearing the Avs uni?
Yeah, EJ is kind of the face of the franchise for, unfortunately, what were the darkest years of this franchise's history, in the sense of they were bad for the majority of his career here. I think people who remember that time really respect EJ as whatever you believe EJ was as a player. With that time on the Avs, he had to be their number one defenseman. They didn't have anyone else good enough. So he was kind of a number one guy here for a long time. And then things worked out. He got to stay here, was good enough, just long enough to stay on the team for their return to glory, and then he gets to lift the cup. So definitely a fan favorite here.
How things worked out. Like, how great was losing that 2017 lottery? Because I got to tell you, winning it didn't really turn out for us.
Look, every time I hear you guys had Makar high on the list, I'm glad you guys messed that up. I'll put it that way.
I believe it about this much. One thing I wanted to ask is Gabriel Landeskog. It sounded like leading up to the season and training camp, it was a lot of positivity. Like, it's a matter of when, not if. And I feel like we haven't really heard anything, at least nationally, since then. Do you guys have any real idea of when the captain's coming back for you?
Honest answer, no. Make-believe answer, probably January or February. Look, I know sports fans love to live day by day, their ups and downs. You really cannot do that with this Landeskog injury at this point. They're over 2 years into this, and it's just going to be what it's going to be. With Landy specifically, really the only deadline the Avs are working with is the trade deadline. They need to know if he's going to be back and that money's going to count against their cap or not, because they need to spend it if he's not coming back. So the deadline is the marker for, realistically at this point, if Landy's not back by then, it's over. He's not going to come back ever. So I do expect him to come back and at least try it at some point this season, but it's going to be what it's going to be.
It's a shame, man. He was I just always liked watching him. He's a badass. I dig Landy. I want to see him get back out
Flyers
there.
Player for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully he gets back out. One last thing I just wanted to talk to you about is, you mentioned the trade deadline. I want to go back to last year. So I want to go back to when really I think the last time we may have spoke was right around the time of the Sean Walker trade.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Just want to know how you guys are looking back on that. The Flyers get a top 10 protected 2025 first. For a couple of days there, it looked like, oh, no, this isn't going to convert. And then it's like, you have Nathan McKinnon. It's probably going to be okay. As well as, the corpse of Ryan Johansson. You guys get Sean Walker in a fifth. How are you looking back at that trade, losing, not re-signing Walker? He's in Carolina now. You give up the first round pick. He's nothing special for you in Sean Walker. What do you think of that trade, a few months later?
Yeah, seeing what Walker signed for in the offseason was a little bit disappointing that the Avs weren't able to hold on to him. But the trade itself, I really don't have that big of a deal with it. Yeah, would have been nice to keep Walker. It being a rental isn't great that you gave up a first, but also the Avs desperately needed that Ryan Johansson cap space, and being able to get rid of that entirely without retaining anything, whether the Flyers are cheating or not with that contract, I'll leave that up to you guys. But to get rid of that for the Avs, it opened up a lot of room for them to do things like give Casey Middlestat a 3-year deal and cement a forward core that now, for the first time since they won the Cup, you feel good about their center depth with McKinnon, Colton, and Middlestat. Colton, one of the injured guys, but he'll be back eventually. So it's been a problem for the Avs for a long time, really. Even before they won the Cup, solving that 2C spot was a thing they had to do. And when Ryjo didn't work, they had to get creative to find a way to make someone work. And Middlestat was that answer. The extra $4 million from Ryjo got his deal done.
It all works out for the Avs. It seems to always. Anything else that you think we should know going into this matchup on Monday? Like you said, the goalies have kind of been taken advantage of this year. I know nothing about what that's like. We also have some pretty leaky goaltending, but it's starting to come around a bit. Like, what has stood out to you most through your first 17 games I think you've played?
Yeah, I'm for the goalie side. It looks like Georgiev's actually day-to-day with an upper body injury, just announced this morning. So it's pretty likely you guys are going to get Justus Annunen in net, who I think has been the better goalie for the Avs. Not I think he has been. The numbers, he's just been better, but he's pretty unproven. So the Avs are still trying to figure it out with that goaltending position. They are a little bit more stubborn, unlike the Flyers, who gave Fedotov, 4 games and said, we're done with this. So we'll see if the Avs can sort out that position. For the team as a whole, the big thing about the Avalanche that every team needs to be aware of, yes, they have 12 forwards, but they have a top line, and their second most productive unit is their defense. They provide a ton of scoring from their back end, and that's how they end up beating teams. Obviously, Cale Makar is great, but you have guys like Devon Taves and Sam Girard behind that to help back things up. A young guy like Sam Malinsky on the third pair. It's really that defense. If you stop them from producing for the Avs, you're probably going to beat them.
All right, Nate, thanks a lot for joining us today. This is PHLY Flyers. Hope everyone joins us for a post-game following Flyers Avs. I realized I did half of this like, oh, yeah, it's today. And then, no, it's Friday. I'm not going to fool anyone. They know, like, they can see I'm wearing different clothes. But thanks a lot for joining us, Nate. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Welcome back. Yeah, that was fun. At the end, I ended the magic of this was recorded today. No, it wasn't. But we talked Flyers Avs there with Nate Rudolph out in DNVR, and that was it's always cool to catch up with those guys out in Denver. I think it's so funny how they're like, oh, that 2C problem. It's like the Flyers have no centers,
I was going to
bro.
say, yeah. How about a 2 through 4 C problem? Well, actually, 1 through 4, really.
Yeah, our 1C. It's like, yeah, he's by default.
Yeah, he can.
He's only the 1C
do
because the coach can't come up with a reason to get him out of the lineup.
Not today.
He
anyway.
was fourth line left wing a couple of weeks ago, but no, it's good. And listen, it's going to be a fun matchup with Colorado tonight. They have their own share of injury issues, and honestly, like, just roster issues. Val Nichushkin is back. He's on their second line last I saw. But, Ross Colton starts the year for them like 8 goals in 10 games and then breaks his foot. Like, it's a bad luck season for them. And that's why at this very moment, the Flyers and the Avs have the exact same points percentage.
Which is hilarious.
The Flyers are 8-8-2. The Avs are 9-9-0. Both teams at 500 through their first 18 games. So we'll see who, I guess.
Who gets to be not 500 anymore.
Yeah, with an overtime loss, the team could stay 500.
I guess technically both of them won't be 500 anymore.
Yeah.
One will be below, one will be above. Math, everyone.
If the Flyer, like if either team loses in overtime, they remain 500. Because it's hockey 500.
This is what I need to root for then. That's the funniest outcome.
That's what we want to see.
Even though overtime will kill me.
Before we wrap up tonight, I got to get the pregame bets in. This pregame bets segment is brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, we're taking the over. That has kind of become an auto bet for the Flyers over the last couple of weeks. Listen,
6.5.
we talk. It's 6.5 is very high, but we're looking at Aleksei Kolosov, who has an .863 save percentage, negative 3.1 goals saved above average according to Hockey Reference, and then Justus Anunen. 881 save percentage, minus 3.6 goals save above average for the Avs. Neither goalie very good.
If you add those together, that's like 7.
Yeah, that's basically 7 right there. And the Flyers, while we have said for a lot of this year, like, man, this team just can't score. They've scored 10 goals in the last 2 games, and they're averaging 3.5 goals per game since November 5th. That's 6th most in the league. Avs are 9th overall in total scoring, and they're tied since November 5th with the Flyers at 3.5 goals a game.
You've chalked me into it.
So why not? 3.5, that's 7. Boom.
Boom.
They just got to hit their averages tonight. And during that little talk there, I just will look through the Flyers roster. Checked out Joel Farabee's career splits. 4 goals in 7 career games against the Avs. His very first career multi-goal game was against them in 2020, right before the pandemic. He scored in both of the 2 games against Colorado last year. We're going to take him to score again. He's been heating up a bit. Want to see more out of Joel Farabee. All right, let's get to this final super chat before we wrap up. Again from Gary B. I'm in section 118, Kelly, row 24. Gary B, shooting his shot. Love to see it.
Don't spend dollars. Tell me where you're sitting. I'll be in the gritty section.
I'll be in the gritty section. All right. This has been the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. We will be back with postgame. Charlie will join us following the game from the Wells Fargo Center as well, so make sure you tune in for that. But that's it for now. I'm Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. Let's go Flyers!